I'll call the October Town Council meeting to order at this time. I'd like to welcome all our visitors here tonight. At this time, we'll have a prayer from Reverend Duck, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let us pray. Almighty and triune God, we do give you thanks. We give you praise for all your mighty works, for your love towards us, your goodness and your grace. Thank you for creating us, sustaining us day by day. You supply our every need according to your riches and glory. We pray now that you will guide in this council meeting tonight, give wisdom, direction, and Lord, bless in the proceedings that all things will be to the good of this community and to your glory. And the praise we'll give to you and the thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you all. I feel very fortunate to be in a town that was not or has not succumbed to the recent rash of Mother Nature. And I think we all should be thinking of them. I know this community has contributed, town of Appomattox County, and entities within, to the rescue efforts in those areas. I'm sure they appreciate it. So thank you all for that. I hope that were we to come to such a disaster, that someone would come to our aid as well. First, we have the Honorable Sheriff Robert Richardson to make a presentation. Sheriff Richardson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I just came to give the numbers. Things came to where I couldn't be here back in July, so we kind of skipped a quarter. So this will be 2 quarters combined together of numbers. And so basically in a half of 6 months, we had 171 town summonses, which are speeding or any traffic infractions within the town limits, 135 misdemeanor warrants that were served, and 103 felony warrants that were served in those 6 months. I do not have the parking infractions in front of me, but I can tell you they have gone up, mostly to the new parking signs on Church Street. And also, whenever we've had the time and people have called in, we try to monitor the ones over near the ABC store and Kroger parking lot, things of that nature. But we can't get to them all. I know there's been a lot of complaints we haven't gotten to. It's strictly because the deputies are on calls and they can't get over there in time before the person's already left. So, and the law also dictates if somebody's in the driver's seat, we can't write them a parking ticket. We have to ask them to move on. It's only if somebody's not in the driver's seat. So anybody have any questions, not only on this, but anything?
How's their puppy doing?
They are both doing great. Can't complain.
Are they being of a lot of service or?
So they're being used consistently. They both just took their state test again. I think it was back in August, and both of them passed. And drug identification, narcotics, and also in tracking, which is a good thing. And they stress a lot throughout the year to make sure they stay up with the standards. And then when master trainer come in and make sure they stay certified. I don't have the numbers in front of me of how many vehicles they ran on the road, but I do know they run quite a bit. We got quite a bit of narcotics off the road. We had a very proactive search warrant done today. Got a lot of methamphetamine from it. So they are doing their job, and I certainly appreciate that.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Well, that makes me feel good to hear that, because I was told, in fact, I heard from a lot of sources that the dogs were going to be the best way to help you get rid of the drug problem.
It definitely don't hurt, that's for sure.
And I
We'll
just,
take any tool we can
It
take.
just makes me feel good to hear that they're being
Get rid of the
successful.
drug problem. And at school, any updates with the dogs at school where it's just,
Luckily, the school has not been too proactive, which is a good thing, in our world when they're at the school. But they are being used for, school searches, things of that nature, to make sure there's no narcotics in the schools. And their drug task force is using advantage of them as well. They have interdiction night, which is basically they come down in high drug problem areas, and we proactively go into those neighborhoods and use the canines on interdiction stops and things of that nature.
Do you think
Yes.
they're deterring anything?
It's hard to say. It's so prevalent, so easily to get methamphetamine these days, and I will say fentanyl is taking a downturn, which is great. I don't know if that's just from our higher agency that's doing their jobs better, or if it's us doing the job better here, but it's working, whatever it is, so we're gonna keep doing it.
Awesome.
That's good. Yeah, you see a lot in Lynchburg with the schools. The schools are really going through a lot in Lynchburg.
Yeah. And I think y'all probably saw a couple weeks ago, we all went through a rash of stuff with a photo that was making its way around social media, and unfortunately, I think every school in the state of Virginia probably took a turn with that picture, which showed basically somebody holding a gun, and each person shared it. And when that happens, it looks like it's from whatever school it may be, because it doesn't have a name on it. So we all have to treat that as it's their school. So we go through the proper protocols to make sure we treat it as if it's their school, to make sure everything's rendered safe. Any other questions, concerns?
We just thank you for the job you're doing. Keep it up.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all's support. If y'all ever need anything, just give me a call. You got any concerns, somebody called you, tell them to call me. I'd be happy to do what we can to help them. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you tonight.
Next on our agenda, citizen comment. Next item, adoption of consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the council and will be approved or received by one motion in the form listed. Items may be removed from the consent agenda for discussion under the regular agenda upon motion by any council member duly seconded. Items: September 9th, 2024, regular council meeting, September 20th, special call meeting, September 24th, workshop meeting, and October 4th, special call meeting. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion made and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, the motion carries. Is there any unfinished business to come before the council at this time? All right, on to new business, water treatment manager presentation. David?
Yeah, I'm here this evening to present what it will take to get our wells up and operational. Should be included in your packet, some information on that. Depending on how council wants to approach this, we can break this down in many different segments. But the three emergency use wells, what are considered emergency use by VDH, they've had their testing up to date. We yield tested those back in 2021, I believe. Strong producing wells, you're looking at an estimated cost of $131,000 to get those up and running as they set. There are other additional wells within the town. Well 1, you're looking at roughly an estimated $131,000. That number tentatively could go down. We've got some work that's got to be done at that well, but there are a few options as to how we handle that. We could bring that cost down significantly. And the 4 remaining wells, those would need to be yield tested as well as tested to VDH standards. They were taken offline in 2012 and disconnected completely from the system with an estimated cost of $130,000 to bring that online. So if you're looking at just the 8 existing wells, you're roughly $392,000 estimated cost to get those back up and running.
Would it make sense to make them all work at one time, or do you do one at a time, or, I don't really know a lot about wells.
I would say that the 3 wells, what I consider strong producing, they're yield tested. They were traditionally kept for emergency use. Well 1 was kept for emergency use, but we had to take that offline due to some flooding issues in Walton Place because we have to flush that well, and the late landowner did not like the water going across the land, so we actually took that well offline. But the 3 that are pretty much ready to go, some of the bigger costs on that is SCADA controls to integrate that so that it would work with the system that we currently have. That is one of the biggest costs. Well 39 is a green sand filter. That sand filter will need to be gone through, and an estimated cost of $53,000. Probably not that much, but that is a worst case scenario. So that's why I wanted to present that to you, so that, you know, if you decide to go down this avenue, that this is potentially what you could be facing.
So for the, for the 3 wells that appear in the front of this, and they are, I'm assuming, our best bets, how much would it cost for those 3 total?
It would be roughly $131,000 to bring those online. An estimated $9,300 in chemical. Now that was based off of numbers back when we were running in 2012. There were a different number of wells. Chemicals may have to be adjusted to accommodate for what, you know, lost in the system from the other wells. There would need to be a blending study done. I would recommend having that done. I'm in the process of getting an engineer to provide a cost on that. There has been an engineering study done on chlorine addition, so we know that the 3 existing wells, and that was based off of well 5, 39, and 41. We know what chlorine residual we would have to have in order to maintain those. Yeah, so the blending study would be, you know, the next, you want to make sure that when we fire these things up that we're not going to cause any issues in the systems. We'll do a hydraulic model, make sure that everything is flowing correctly in the system and that everything's reaching the areas it needs to reach.
Mm-hmm.
And how much water would be produced by these wells?
The 3 wells at a 6-hour period a day is going to produce roughly 114,000 gallons. Under normal circumstances, you know, if we have a drought or any other condition that may cause less than ideal yield. Now this is based off a 6-hour yield. When we shut these wells down, we were looking at 9 and 10-hour yields. So, you know, potentially we can do more. This was just a rough, easy on the well way to produce some water.
And this would just be supplementing, right? That was what we were discussing. We wouldn't be depending on the wells.
This is what it says, emergency well.
Yeah.
If we lost Campbell County altogether due to a catastrophic failure, we cut these on. These are listed as emergency wells.
And I think we're required to have a secondary system at hand just in
Anyway.
case that emergency happened. That's why,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I was just wondering because of the 6 hours, if that was significant or not.
And
Well,
these
I
3,
think because we were talking about blending.
Right.
So we wouldn't need like the 12
All
hour.
of it, right.
Yeah, we
Right.
would blend with
I
the
think
water
I
we're
said
buying from
supplement. Yeah, I know what
CCUSA.
you
Not
mean.
we're buying, but the county is buying.
Right.
and these wells have been kept up to date, so if we had an emergency tonight and had to cut these wells on, we could. For short-term use. I mean, there needs to be some work done for long-term use, but, you know, we
When you
are...
say short term, what do you mean, like a week?
I mean, yeah, you could run it a week, honestly,
Okay.
no problem, but if you wanted to make continuous use out of it, we would need to do some upgrades.
Gotcha.
So the benefit of having the SCADA control, even if we just use technically emergency use, would it be beneficial to go ahead and do the SCADA on these 3 and do what you cost recommendations you got here?
So,
I know
yeah.
we're talking about blending, but that's a whole different program.
When we haven't gotten there yet.
But I'm for going ahead and doing whatever you need to do that you have listed here to make these 3 wells our emergency wells.
So if we integrated SCADA controls to it and we needed to prolong, say, a week-long process, we had an emergency, a month, yeah. This SCADA would basically take control of the system and run it. So when the tank says, hey, I need water, it would cut the wells on and cut the chemical pumps on and send water to the tanks. And
If not,
likewise,
how would that work?
You'd have a man or there.
you'd have to, yeah, somebody would have to watch the tanks and you'd have to go
That's
on
what I was
site.
thinking, so that you need this, control,
Yeah.
Yes.
You need 4 people versus 1.
yeah.
If you call a skater a person,
So you gotta have 1 person manage.
well, that one person's always on call.
1 person monitoring the tank.
Right, somebody's always on call 24 hours a day for our water system.
I kind of think like Timmy, that this is something we ought to go on and do. And, I mean, you know,
Too.
whatever it takes, we need to get this done regardless of what future plans are.
I think-
Because it doesn't take but one busted down pump, one broken valve, and then next thing I don't have water for my coffee, and I get very angry after that.
And we need to be able to operate it for longer than a week, I mean, too, if that happens, I mean, we need to,
I think we need to call these our emergency wells and go ahead and move with just whatever it takes up to 131,000, or we put 150,000 to get these up and working on the SCADA system. Because there's nothing hindering us from doing it. I think we got the funds to do it. I think we need to move forward to do these and technically call them our emergency wells.
Are you making a motion, sir?
Yes, a motion.
Well, I'll second that.
Motion made, properly seconded.
It originally was on our CIP anyway at one time. I think we took it off for whatever reason, but we had plans of doing this anyway. Sorry, Richard.
That's good. Motion made, properly seconded to bring the emergency wells up to the status necessary and expend the funds necessary up to $150,000 to accomplish this.
Get
Rob,
these,
do you know if this is in our budget? Or David, do you know if it's in our budget?
Verified with Kim, but I know we can use the ARPA money, that's like.
That's, I'd like to add that to the motion to take care of ARPA money
That's fine.
Entertain a motion to
Sounds
amend.
good.
and amend it.
Motion to amend.
I'll second it.
and all these other ideas are great too, but I say we should just focus on this. I'm looking through here, you got a lot of other options, I mean, eventually.
Yeah, I think a lot of it will.
I think having,
Be prepared for any such incident that occurs.
the water supply to our town would ace any other things that we talked about, including any sidewalks. That is something that we have to supply that for our community. So it's that important.
I think
So-
we could be well positioned for this.
How much are we using a day?
Currently, an estimate of 222,000 per day, average.
So we had our limit as far as commercial.
Yep.
On the amendment, we're going to add the words to take the funding from the ARPA funds. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, the amendment carries. The motion as amended to spend up to $150,000 in ARPA funds to bring our 3 emergency wells back online. By roll call vote, Ms. Allen,
Yes,
Mr. Boyce,
Yes,
Mr. Garrett,
Yes.
Ms. Puckett,
Yes.
Ms. Spiegel.
Yes.
Mr. Simpson is absent. By a vote of 5-0, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The rest of it, I guess we'll see where we end up going. The challenges on well 1 would see how that affects us moving forward.
We get this thing accomplished,
Yeah, one thing at a
First.
time.
and then,
That gets us to where we could function should something happen. What's the reservoir of water we currently have in the tanks in the town?
In town, roughly,
The whole system?
roughly 1 million gallons. We have a 1 million gallon storage tank that stays between, I would say 3/4 full typically, and then the 100,000 in town typically stays full. We only draw 4 foot of water out of that a day, so.
It's a 1 million gallon, the one up on.
Tower Hill,
Tower
yes.
Hill. The one in South Spring, is that ours?
That is a 100,000 gallon. It supports the county water line system.
Okay.
So no water leaves the town and goes back to that system. It stops at the laser car wash. The only time water comes in, it goes through that metering system at the laser car wash. And so basically that system is self-sustained outside of the town limits.
And we can use it also.
Will we have to be a big effort to support that depending on where the water line is impacted, to get water to those customers?
Supporting the county water line?
Yes, sir.
No, we would have to remove the backflow system that's there in order to supply there, but we would have to install, or would have to make sure that the backflow at Campbell County is secure.
Do the car washes on town water use reclaimed water at all, or is it just one and done?
One more time?
The car washes, do they use reclaimed water or?
No, they're on a well. They have a well there.
Oh, okay, good.
They have the option for town water. They have a meter there, but they're on well water.
Good enough.
What about the one out, 24, next to Natour's?
Town water.
Any other questions on the water system? David, thank you very much. We appreciate the presentation. I
Thank
hope
you.
this effort will position us where we need to be for emergencies. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Good job.
Next item on the agenda is the Ethics Committee minutes. This is Mr. Simpson and Ms. Spiegel met with Cindy and Ms. Spiegel, would you like to make a presentation of this?
Me? Well, we met Friday morning and we spent a good 2 hours going over this, and we had options. We were looking at Farmville, I think, and we looked at Lynchburg City, which was like that thick, and they do so badly with ethics. And we decided that we had Alta Vista also, and we decided that we would use mostly the Farmville, but we weren't just copying and paste. We were tweaking it to fit our situation, the town situation. And the results are here by Cindy, was so gracious to, and you know, we'll have to, you all read this, take it home and read it, see what you think. I think we did a pretty good job with it. And we even had something in there about nepotism, trigger word, but we did.
Be careful with that now.
I know, he's not here, so it won't trigger him to get angry. And he was the one who wanted this part about who you can and can't hire or work, you know. He was the one who wanted the strictness. Because in the past, we haven't been that strict. If the person lives in your house, say Mayor Connor and his wife, and then that was not allowed, but if they lived in different homes, like Timmy Garrett and Jonathan Garrett, who was on council for a while, but he tightened this up to any household members, so any kin, you know.
How far?
And this is just a proposal. I mean, we had to.
All right, we can look over that.
So this is for our review.
Yeah. And then if you have, and if you see something that you just absolutely disagree with, then we can, we can tweak it. This is just a draft. But we did spend a lot of time going over it.
Good.
So if y'all could look at it, and then maybe we can decide on it at the workshop.
This is something that the group from Lynchburg, we agreed with them that we would come up with an ethics.
Yeah, part of the Berkeley group workshop.
And then we realized we hadn't done it yet. So that's why we met.
And the one for the bylaws and procedures, that's actually the one for this location that was tweaked. And anything we changed or adjusted is highlighted. So, yeah, please go through that.
And see if,
And we have all of that in this.
yeah, see what you all think. I see on our agenda today, the citizen comments are at the beginning. They have not been at the beginning because Bill Gillespie, when he was town manager, he advised us to put it at the very end. I objected to that. I don't know if anyone else did, but I think it's better to have citizens' comments at the beginning before we go in, council goes into a discussion about it, because the citizen might be bringing us some new information that we didn't have. So if it didn't make any sense to put it at the end after we'd already made decisions and we'd already voted on things. And then they come up and say, oh, I have new information. So I never understood why that was a good thing. So I see this is on here today, and that's,
I think you got a citizens comment period that in a regular meeting, it could be,
very vital to what,
if we have a public hearing, it would be, needs to be up front, I agree. But we can think it over.
yeah, think it over.
You could, like I said, bring information to us that we need to know about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that would come into effect when we, after the agenda's published, somebody may have concern about an item on the agenda, want to speak to it.
Yeah.
That would be handling during the
Right.
meeting. So, yeah, it is for me. Appreciate that.
Because we want to hear what our citizens have to say about anything that's going on. I know Mr. Baines has come. And sometimes when we go into closed session, which is not always, but sometimes when we do, and if we make that person stay here until we're out of closed session before they get to speak, then, you, Mayor, will say, well, let's let them give comments first up front so they can go. But I mean, you all look at it and, take a red pen or something and circle what you object to or whatever, because we can tweak it. We've tweaked it a whole lot. We can do it again. We do it some more. This was just the committee.
Are the last two pages completely added, or were they already in
The last two pages are added. Part of y'all's retreat was to come up with that
Ethics
item.
pledge.
We looked at 3 localities, and the one from Farmville was the one that we picked. We can change verbiage if y'all want to.
I appreciate the reporting, and we'll look to take action at the workshop meeting later this month. Ella, could you make sure Mr. Simpson has a copy of this?
Yes.
All right.
That was our retreat from the Berkeley group. They specifically asked us to come up with something like this.
Coordinate with Christie to make sure, see if there are any other items on the retreat that need to be addressed in a more timely manner than we have been, to make sure we're moving in the right direction to accomplish those tasks.
I think Cindy has already done that, but that's
Just
okay.
double check, please.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. Is there any other new business to come before the council at this time? Next item is our 2 closed sessions. I I'm going to entertain a motion for a closed session pursuant to the Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3711A6, for the purpose of discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds where a competition or bargaining is involved, where it may public initially, the financial interest of the governmental unit would be adversely affected, specifically being investments of public funds in a contract with a third party to provide consulting services to the town of Appomattox. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
By roll call vote, Ms. Allen.
Yes.
Mr. Boyce.
Yes.
Garrett.
Yeah.
Ms. Puckett.
Yes.
Mr. Simpson's absent. Ms. Spiegel.
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion of the same for our second item.
I'm only seeing one item.
Yeah.
There's, Mr.
You
Bowles
added-
asked
you
for
added-
another to be
you
included
added
in
an
this
item.
closed session.
Okay.
Under the same verbiage, I'd like to entertain that second motion.
It's the same topic, I mean, same.
Different topics.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made, properly seconded. Any discussion? By roll call vote, Ms. Allen.
Yes.
Mr. Boyce.
Yes.
Mr. Garrett. Ms. Puckett.
Yes.
Mr. Simpson is absent. Ms. Spiegel.
Yes.
By a vote of 5-0. Motion carries. At this time, we'll be going into closed session.
Council concerns, Jane. To the best of each member's knowledge, the only subjects just discussed or considered in the preceding closed meeting were those lawfully exempted from the FOIA's Act, open meeting requirements, and properly identified in the motion that convened the closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A6.
Need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, properly seconded. Any discussion? By roll call vote, Ms. Allen.
Yes.
Mr. Boyce.
Yes.
Mr. Garrett.
Yeah.
Ms. Puckett.
Yes.
Mr. Simpson is absent. Ms. Spiegel.
Yes.
By a vote of 5-0, the motion carries. Thank you. Council Standing Committee reports, Finance.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Physical development, the only thing we agreed to get our emergency wells back up is the only thing that I know that we did tonight. Well deserved.
And out of ARPA, that's where the funding's coming from. All right. Town Manager's report, Mr. Fowler.
Thank you for the time. Started going around, did Church Street, Old Courthouse, Confederate, down Church, looking for vacant properties that Nathan then talked about getting an intern for. We had about 7 properties that I found that just are vacant in various stages.
Oh, blight, you're talking about blight?
Well, yeah, not all of them are like, well, 2 of them are currently for sale or lease, so I don't really know if they should be on the list. But I'm not sure we have a vacant problem like we thought maybe we did. Maybe we probably need to make another run through just to make sure, but these are clearly that you can tell they're vacant. They're not in use. So I'm hoping the gentleman from Richmond can come on the 29th to talk to you about the pros and cons of trying to get a property maintenance code and what be involved. Now, if we went to residential structures, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of things that could be addressed, but as far as vacancy right now, it looks like there's 7 commercially zoned properties
7 properties
that are
commercially
completely
zoned.
vacant. Only a couple of them are really what I would call blighted looking vines, overgrowth, that type of thing. So I think we're in a lot better shape than we thought we might be.
All right.
We're gonna do the interviews this week for the PW position. The consultant did come in and talk with the employees over that with you. I think right now that's pretty much it. Oh, and the Lee Grant project, we should be getting those plans by the end of this week for us to review, to turn back over, to put out for bid.
All right.
Water line, Church Street water line, how close are they?
They have they put the 3 valves in today in front of Jamerson Hardware. So we have from that exit driveway to go across Patricia Inn, and the contractor hopes that once he gets the valve in today, that work should move really fast. So I'm gonna guess we're still gonna be on the November, early December timeline, provided we don't get any weather, and will mean the paving will be completed as well.
So that whole road will go over that, will that be ground down and relayed to make it smooth?
So my understanding, they're building 2 inches down and putting the new asphalt in.
Nice.
So hopefully we can get all that done for the plants. But I think depending on weather, could be mid-December, early December.
That's a very good thing.
So we're past the dust, I think.
All right.
Very good thing to put it there, work on what they're doing, and down Patricia Ann.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fowler. Council comments. Ms. Allen.
Okay. So this weekend, the Railroad Festival was wonderful, but Main Street was very crowded. I mean, the whole place was crowded. So we went into a couple of those businesses, and some of the business owners were really verbal. I think they just need for future reference, I don't know who talks to the Railroad Festival Committee or any of that. As a town business, they don't own the road, but do they own, I guess, the entrance, as far as like things being set up in front of them impacting their business? I told them I didn't really know. I could ask, but they don't own the road. You know, they don't own.
The sidewalks were passable.
Yeah, it was just super congested, and they know that, and I'm sure the festival will get complaints about it, but.
Well, I think the Railroad Committee already has gotten some comments of, like, I'm gonna use Granny B's as an instance. She was open for business, and she had a
Hot dog stand in front of her.
right in front of her business on her sidewalk that she has to clean when it snows. So I think it's just some pointers and suggestions we probably need to come back with to the railroad.
I'll give you another example.
We all look at these
My
and
sister-in-law
do the right thing.
and my niece,
Yeah.
they paid to the Railroad Festival to
Be in front of their.
rent in front of their place of business. They felt like they had to. They do it every year. And they
I think that just
and they
needs
felt
to
like
be-
they had to. The sidewalk in
That
front
don't
of
seem
Country
right.
Charm. Because if not, then you get like T-shirts hanging from a tent and nobody can see Country
you're
Charm,
open.
people from out of town. And
Right.
they just suck it up and do it because they have no choice.
Right.
So they, and
And
I
I
don't
think
think
of
that's fair.
other places, like when you go to Farmville for different things, they have a lot of festivals, but they have businesses, and I don't know, and I know we're not Farmville, but I'm just trying to think, how can we keep everybody happy next
I
year?
think the railroad committee will address these issues as long as we
Yeah.
can make.
I told them I said I'd say something, see what it,
Well, it doesn't seem right. I mean, that's their business. When
Yeah.
They've
buy
always
Right.
done it,
from
and John
they
Caldwell
either paying
told
taxes
us
on
the
it or
same
paying
thing.
rent.
It's just
Right.
an
That's
oversight.
paying taxes.
Yeah.
It's just an oversight.
Just
They got
maybe
a lot
we
of new
can-
people setting-
The Railroad Festival did an awesome job, but then you've got that going on, so it is what it is. And then I've mentioned this in the past. I know we have the new light poles, and they're kind of everywhere, and they're coming up more everywhere. You can get these 2 arms. I asked about hanging baskets, which I know that's a lot and that's extra, But if we could get like where we could put a banner for Veterans Day, or maybe like to honor our EMS people when they're that season, and we could get them sponsored. I had given Terry the number for, at the time it was Pablo was the commissioner, for the veterans. I just think that would be neat. Other little towns do it, and I know we've mentioned it, but I don't know how you get those brackets, and I don't know all it's extra, I know, but it would be nice and hometown feely.
I got some information for you. Next meeting will make you very happy.
Oh, okay.
Thought about you when I saw it.
I
Okay.
think Main Street has the capability to doing what you're talking about, but I think you're talking about addressing any of the lampposts.
Well, yeah, well, you could have more. You know, you could take it on down the new sidewalk, that would be nice. Wherever, I don't know.
Depends on how many you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, people will be
Something we
interested.
put on the
And it would
smart
look
scale.
nice, and it would be
Like,
personal.
Yeah.
I don't know, and they could fundraise, they could do however they want to get it. You could, some towns do it for like their high school seniors, which I know we have tons of those, but I don't know how they could work it out, but it could be used for more than just Veterans Day.
Lynchburg City has it all around Central Health for their health care administrators.
Yeah.
They put pictures.
I mean, I don't know how expensive it would be or anything about it. I just thought that would be neat. I just think about it. That's all. That's enough.
Mr. Boyce.
Yeah, I had an interesting time down at VML this weekend. Learned a lot of things that I want to bring to the workshops thing. And one little tidbit. The NLC, the National League of Cities, put up a presentation on training for writing grants. Anybody can write a grant. And you take whatever your project is, and you go to it's online, it's a boot camp, and it teaches you the steps to go through. And they can't tell you what to write down, but they can show you what winning grants look like.
Oh,
And
that's huge. Grant writing is hard. It's hard to find somebody that can do that.
Exactly, and according to this representative with the National League of Cities, anybody could do it. As long as they're computer literate, you can write a grant.
And so does Ann Dixon do it.
Yeah, so that and then there was other things. You talked about the vacant buildings and things, and there was a good presentation on that. The future of data centers. I did not know that Loudoun County was the data center capital of the world, but data centers are high electricity usage and high water usage for cooling. But now they got new ways of doing these things, and data centers are not going to go away. I mean, every one of your smartphones, the cloud applications, they started with AOL when it was dial-up back in the day, and it went from 1 to I think they have like over 40 now, and it comprises about 10% of their land area, but I think they said they get about 80% of their tax base from it, to where they were able to reduce the real estate rate by 42 cents a hundred. And when you got a property that's valued at $700,000, 42 cents a hundred is a lot of money. Yeah. So and I will bring that, but that's all good for the next thing, and I'll bring you in all that information. Plus the thing on the banners, like I said, when I saw that, I thought about you. And the meeting that we had, the luncheon with the town workers, I come away from that with sort of a bad taste in my mouth. Because I asked the question, why are not the town employees given Christmas bonuses? I want to make a motion right now that for every one of our full-time employees across the board, $500 Christmas bonus. I know we have a couple of part-time employees at the visitor center. I think we ought to give them a couple $100. And I know it's going to be about $13,000, but you want to show some love right at Christmas time, do something for your employee morale, that's the way to do it.
And can I ask a question? Would you like to have $500 where they don't have to take taxes out of it? We
Give
pay.
gift. If you gift it to them,
Right,
Bob can check on all that.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very complicated trying to get
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
how you
it's
word it.
expensive to tax, it's gonna get taxed higher than regular income anyway.
So they may not get $500.
Yeah, they might get like some
That's what I'm
odd
talking
number.
about.
They
We
won't
talked
get
about this
$500
before.
bonus.
Many
You
times.
put the amount and he can find out how to get it.
So
Can we
How to get it
table
so
this
they
until,
get $500 or $200 or whatever.
Sorry, Rob.
that's fine. What you did authorize or agree to is the creation of an employee committee. And there'll be 4 reps from staff that will serve on that. And kind of what I'm trying to show them is the time we spent in Lynchburg on the employee committee is they need to come up with, meet as a group, talk to their fellow coworkers and say, this is what we want to see for recognition or that type of thing. Then take that to the manager who then comes back to council and says, hey, these are the recommendations, do you want to try to do this? So it kind of, you're going to see this again because it's going to be something that they're going to recommend.
And I can understand that, but this is an across the board, no matter what you do, how you do it, when you do it. You're a town employee, we want to show you a little love, let's get it done.
Yeah, incentives.
So we're gonna, we gotta figure out how we're gonna do that. You can make that a motion to do it because we're getting a couple months from being Christmas.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would say maybe Kim would know what's the best way to do it so that they
is this
wouldn't.
something we
be
can
taxed.
table to the workshop meeting so that we can get the details necessary to accommodate that?
I can bring that back to the 29th meeting if that's okay.
Okay.
Or possibly Cindy
Maybe
could
some
work with
suggestions.
Kim, because you're doing payroll now. Cindy's doing payroll now by helping Kim.
But
Bye.
Kim might know.
So between the
Yeah,
two
Your
of them,
bonuses are usually taxed at 33%. It's very hard to get around that, but
This way people do it.
Yeah, that would be,
that's why.
that would just be upsetting to think
Can
you're
you call
getting
that's
it
$500.
adding insult to injury if they, we're
If
gonna
you call
give
it
you
a gift,
$500 and then
is
give
that-
them
Ways around it. People do it all the
250.
time.
Yeah, we'll look at it.
Yeah, like we
Yeah.
used to learn.
I agree.
Kim might know the answer to that. That's
Give
what I'm
them, pay the taxes on it, give them that amount. I mean,
That's what I said when I first spoke of it.
There's ways to.
thinking. Okay.
But as an employee, I appreciate it.
Well, you deserve it. You deserve it.
Is that it, Mr. Boyce?
That's it, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Garrett,
I don't have any. Everything's fine.
Miss Spiegel,
I wanted to say that Don Jones, and you all know who he is, do I need to tell you? He's the
we're very aware.
tourism committee person. He said to me that he needs the town to put those talking about the banners, put those Christmas banners up before the tree lighting ceremony takes place and I think it's,
December the,
Before Thanksgiving.
no, it's in November, the last weekend in November, I think it's on a Sunday.
yeah, it's on the.
I should know that, but it's, he wants the town decorated, which equals the Christmas banners up on Main Street. He wants them up, and he asked me to tell that, and I told him I would. I'll get the definite date when, I think it's the 24th. This year, they have asked the firemen to help with the lights, and they have agreed for a contribution from the Festival Park Committee.
Would it be November the 2nd?
No, it's not that quick.
It's a week
It's the
before.
end of November is when we have the tree lighting ceremony.
I think we're gonna put it up a week and a half before.
Thanksgiving.
The lights, yes, that's a good idea. And then when we actually have the ceremony and all the hoopla that goes with that, that's when he wants to be sure that those banners are up. I think we have some Christmas banners on Main Street, and as Jane brought up, we only have them there on Main Street. But they're wonderful looking. So that was his request, so. And I guess Public Works Department is the ones who puts the banners up. And other than that, I don't have anything.
Ms. Puckett. Thank you, ma'am. Anyone have any more business come before the council at this time?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion made, properly second for adjournment.
About the high school.
Any discussion?
There was-
All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, motion carried. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.